Since 2009, we've literally filed thousands of petitions for both fiancé visas and marriage visas for a loved one in the Philippines. It's safe to say it's been the most popular country for over a decade, until coronavirus hit. Since that time, Philippines has essentially closed their borders, making it virtually impossible for an American to travel to the Philippines. That's important because you're required to meet in person if you're going to do a fiancé visa. And of course, if you want to get married, you need to be in person as well. So either option to bring a loved one to the United States is essentially closed if you can't meet in person. So where does that leave us? The first thing you'd be thinking is, if I can't go there, why can't she come here? Well, in practicality, that's not going to happen. It's very, very difficult for a Filipino fiance to get a visa to come to the United States, especially since they are single, generally do not have very strong financials, and do not have strong enough connections to ensure a consular officer that they're going to return to their country of origin, in this case, the Philippines. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is that it's almost impossible to get into the U.S. Embassy anyway to get an appointment. They're generally just emergency-only appointments anyway. So the thought that your fiancé would be able to come to the United States on a visa is not a reasonable expectation at this time. So if you can't go there and she can't come here, where does that leave us? Well, you still need to do the meeting in requirement in person. Even though they say there are exceptions to this rule, in practicality there are not. The exceptions are so slim and so difficult to achieve that even if you do qualify for part of the process within one of these exemptions, you will ultimately probably not get approved in the end anyway. So, bottom line, you have to meet. So how are we going to do that? So today we'll discuss two different options that will allow you to pursue the process of a fiancé visa, or if you get married, a marriage visa from outside of the Philippines. The first one is Thailand. Thailand has recently opened their borders to Americans and Filipinos. Now, there are some requirements to get in. It's not like it was before where you could generally just buy a ticket and jump on a plane. You do have to be vaccinated. You do have to be tested before you arrive. You have to be tested when you arrive. And then you stay in a state-run hotel for the first night. And after that night, if your COVID test is clear, essentially you can go and travel. Now, that's not available to everybody in the world, but countries that are available to includes both the United States and the Philippines. So Thailand is a very close flight for Filipino nationals, and quite frankly, it's equidistance, give or take, from the United States to go to Thailand or the Philippines. In fact, there might be more options to fly directly to Thailand as opposed to Philippines for a U.S. citizen. So that's our first option, and it's a good option. It would allow you to meet in person in Thailand, take your pictures, show that you've met, and if you meet the other qualifications, ultimately do the fiancé visa. That's option one. Option two is Mexico. Mexico is an often overlooked option for meeting for foreign nationals. So, for a U.S. citizen, as most of us know, you do not need really anything to go to Mexico. You don't even need to be vaccinated or a COVID test at this time. You can just go. So, that is a very open country by international standards at this time. The same is true for a Filipino national. However, a Filipino national must get a visa to travel to Mexico. So, let's say, for example, you wanted to meet in Cancun and satisfy the meeting requirements for a fiancé visa, or in the alternative, you can even get married in Cancun. Two nationals of different countries, not of Mexico, can get married in Mexico. So, let's say you plan a vacation to Cancun. For you, as an American citizen, it's very easy. For the Filipino citizen, they're going to make an appointment with the Mexican embassy, which is located in Manila. They're going to go through that process, which is generally a formality to get the visa. And from there, just a couple more hoops to jump through before you can get on a plane and fly to Mexico. You both go to Mexico, you satisfy the meeting requirement if you choose to get married. Now, each one of those processes has its advantages and disadvantages. And I recently created a video that discusses both, which is better, the K-1 fiancé visa or the CR-1 marriage visa. So if you just scroll down below, you'll see that video that was posted recently. For specific information about your case and information about that for you to act upon to move forward to get the best outcome for you and your loved one in the Philippines, feel free to give us a call. You can reach us at 888-902-9285. We're also on all the major texting apps, and we'll look forward to speaking with you and hopefully planning out your future together. Thank you.